How can I scale my home service business without burning out? You're about to discover why 90% of home service businesses plateau before they even hit seven figures. And it has nothing to do with marketing or sales. The next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 5 components of the Brook method that separate businesses that scale smoothly from those that burn out their owners. Plus, I'm going to show you the biggest mistake most contractors make when they try to grow and how to avoid that trap, the trap that keeps you working in your business instead of on it, even when you think you're doing things right. Now, you know that sick feeling when your phone rings at 8 p.m. and it's another customer emergency? Well, that's not growth. That's actually a warning sign. Your heart sinks because you know what's coming. Another hour on the phone, walking someone through a problem that should have been handled during regular business hours. Another evening gets stolen from your family that you're never going to get back. Another reminder that your business owns you instead of the other way around. Now, most home service business owners, they think that growth means more calls, more jobs, more revenue. They chase bigger numbers on their monthly reports. But here's what really happens when you start scaling the wrong way. The phone rings more often. The problems, they get bigger. The fires you need to put out, they multiply faster than your growth and way faster than you can handle them. Data shows that companies that grow without the right system saw a 40% drop in profit margins. See it all the time, all over the country, in different markets. Revenue goes up, profits go down. Every new customer becomes another person who needs you, and I mean you specifically. They want to talk to the owner. They want your personal guarantee. They expect you to show up on their job site. And every new employee, well, they need your constant supervision. They call you for every decision. They need training that only you can provide. They look to you for answers to solve problems that they should be solving themselves, probably problems that you hired them to solve. Your business grows, so does your stress. Revenue goes up, and as it does, your freedom goes down. Let me paint you a picture. It might sound familiar. You're working 70-hour weeks. You start early, you stay late, you work weekends. Your family, they feel like they barely see you. And even when you're home, you're checking emails or taking calls. Hey, look, I've been there. Your phone becomes an extension of your hand. You can't take a vacation without everything falling apart. Or you're sitting on the beach, you're constantly on your phone, so much so you have to go back to your car so that you can charge up your phone. You know, I've worked with owners who came back from a 3-day trip and just found their business in chaos, cannot even take a long weekend without customers complaining. Employees seem to be confused. Jobs are delayed. There's revenue lost. And here's the real problem. You built a business that cannot run without you. You think you're the CEO, the big boss, but you're actually your most expensive employee. You're doing work that someone making $15 an hour should be able to handle. You're making decisions that your team should be making. The person that you call your manager should be making. You're solving problems that good systems would have prevented in the first place. Every dollar your business makes depends on your direct involvement. When you're stuck in this trap, you feel like you can't get out of it. Take Sarah, an electrician who grew revenue by 50% while reducing her hours by systematizing her dispatch process. She's building teams that work without her constant supervision. She's creating systems that prevent problems before they happen. She's starting to scale in a way that gives her more freedom, not less freedom. You watch competitors like her, and she's going to end up winning the jobs that you should be getting because they can focus on growth while you're stuck managing that chaos. Many owners, they spike up, they plateau near that $1 million mark when they lack those scalable systems. Does this sound familiar? Look, you can push harder. You think you can, but you can't because you're already working every single hour that you have. Your brain just can't handle it anymore. You can't work more hours because there aren't any more hours in the day. You can't seem to break through to the next level no matter what you try, and you're trying all the latest things. The business feels stuck. Growth feels impossible. You feel like you're stuck. Every attempt to scale just creates more problems for you to solve. You start to wonder, is this really as good as it gets? You think maybe you're not cut out for success. Maybe you see other business owners. They're taking vacations. They're spending time with their family, and their companies are still growing. And you wonder what they know that you don't. You feel trapped in the business that was supposed to give you freedom, but instead it's become a prison. What if I told you there's a completely different way to grow? One that actually gives you more freedom, not less. A way to scale. Scale in a way that reduces your stress instead of increasing it. A business that actually makes you healthier more than feeling bad. A method that builds a business that works better when you're not there. Now I said it. When you're not there micromanaging every detail, things work better. That's what the brick method is all about. It's not about working harder. It's not about grinding out longer hours, pushing through the pain. It's about building a business that works without you. Create systems that prevent problems. It's about training people who make good decisions. It's about attracting customers who value what you do and pay you accordingly. Not growing because you're cutting prices. Growing with the customers who want to pay you what you're worth. The difference between businesses that scale smoothly and those that just get busier come down to how they approach this growth itself that grows your business. It centers on 5 specific pillars that create freedom instead of chaos. These aren't just tips or hacks you can try for a week and then forget about it. It's not how it works. These are 5 pillars. The 5 pillars of the brick method that separate businesses that grow from businesses that just get busier. The first pillar is build the foundation. First, you're going to get extremely clear on your vision. This isn't a mission statement. It's not a tagline. This is exactly where you're going, who your customers are, who they're not. A description of how you'll get there, the team that you need to build, and the culture you want to develop, because that's the culture you're going to live in. Look, if you hate to go to work every day because of your team or because of your customers, it's tough love, but it's your fault. You built it. If you want to change it, you have to get clear on exactly what you are building. Then start building the systems to get you there. You have a roadmap. It's time to document your journey. So what you do is you document every process so your team can deliver consistent service without you standing and looking over their shoulder. Start with the lead intake, your pricing and your estimates, and customer follow-ups. These 3 processes alone will cut your daily involvement by 60%. Seen it time and time again. It'll decrease your daily involvement by 60% while increasing both customer satisfaction and your overall productivity. 3 things: lead intake, pricing estimates, customer follow-ups. Start here. The second pillar is refine your processes and what you're offering. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Figure out what your team does better than anyone else in your market. Maybe you're faster than your competitors. Maybe your quality is better. Whatever it is, lean into that strength and say no to everything else. It's time to remember what got you here won't get you there. I remember sitting with Daniel. He's the owner of a plumbing company that had plateaued at 1.2 million. For 3 consecutive years, his business has hovered around this figure despite all of his efforts to grow. Daniel confessed to me, he says, I don't understand it. Look, we have good systems. Our customers love us. We're getting referrals, but we can't seem to break through to the next level. So we started to look at his business more closely. And when we did, the answer became clear. Daniel had indeed built a strong foundation, but he was operating with essentially the same processes that had brought him to 1.2 million. His pricing strategy, his service delivery model, how he approached scheduling, customer follow-up, all that remained unchanged from when his company was half its current size, when he was doing $500,000 a year. So we embarked together on this 6-month journey of refinement. We didn't dismantle what was working. That would have been foolish. Instead, we examined every aspect of his business, asking the same questions that Sarah had asked about her garden. Does this process still serve our purpose? Is it optimized for our current size? Could a different approach better fulfill its role? The transformation, it was remarkable for Daniel. He refined his scheduling system. Just by doing that alone, Daniel increased his team's productivity by 22%. Think about that. 22% gain in productivity, in capacity. Adjustments to his pricing strategy improved his profit margins without reducing his job volume. Did you hear that? He improved his profit margin without reducing job volume. He got more money, the same amount of jobs. Automating customer follow-ups generated more reviews and referrals with much less administrative time. 18 months after we started our work together, Daniel's company had grown to $2.3 million in annual revenue, with a significantly higher profit margin overall. The foundation remained the same, but his business had evolved through intentional refinement. The third pillar is invest and allocate resources effectively. Before you spend a dime, you should always consider the return on investment. Return on investment in time, energy, and money. Not just money. Time, energy, and money. You have a limited amount of all three. Let me give you an example. When I spoke with Marco, he told me he was about to build a showroom for his plumbing business. I asked him if that fit with his business model and his desired customer base. Marco looked at me and said, "Hey, my biggest competitor has a showroom, so I'm building one too." My response, "Do your customers actually come to a showroom before hiring you?" I asked. The answer was no. 95% of his business came from emergency calls or referrals. The showroom was a solution to a problem that he did not have. He also discussed his other big purchases, upscale premium vehicles that had leather interiors for his crews. He had custom branding on hand tools and equipment, things that customers rarely saw. And he really had a shotgun strategy of marketing. Very little data on what was profitable was actually bringing in the jobs. So we eliminated these three categories of unnecessary spending. When we did that, Marco freed up 30% of his operating budget to redirect towards true growth investments. 30%. It's also always a good idea to train your team leads so that they can manage jobs independently. So build a culture where people solve problems instead of just passing them up to you. Create a hiring system that brings in people who fit your values, but are also capable of growing with your business. Before you spend time, money, or energy on anything, ask three questions. Have I already delegated this to someone else? Does this require me personally? Can someone else manage this? Look, if it doesn't require you personally, train it and delegate it. I want you to document and delegate it so you never have to do it again. If you're solving the same problem over and over again, write the SOP, write how you expect this to be handled, delegate it to somebody else, and have a way for them to report to you. You need to learn to manage by report, not by involvement. Let me say that again. Manage by report, not by involvement. Let me give you an example of how this filter works. A customer calls with a billing question. Your first instinct might be to handle it yourself because you want good customer service, but run it through the filter. Does handling billing questions move you closer to your vision of a seven-figure business? Probably not. Does it require you personally? No. Anyone with the right training can handle billing. Can someone else do this? Absolutely. Train someone on your team to handle billing questions and free yourself up for activities that actually grow your business. Derek runs a lawn care company, and what he ended up doing, he reclaimed 15 hours per week when he delegated routine tasks like this. 15 hours, just by delegation. The fourth pillar is connect with customers who value what you do and pay you accordingly. Wrong customers drain your energy and kill your profit margins. They complain about price. They question your methods. But the right customers, they appreciate your work. They pay on time. They refer other people who are also good customers. They make scaling your business worth the effort because you're not fighting for your margin. Does everyone in your organization know who your perfect customer is and who they are not? Do they know the best way to serve them? Do they make decisions based around how your perfect customer thinks? Through years of working with successful businesses, I've identified 4 pillars that support this meaningful customer and community connections. Number 1 is trust. Moving beyond reliability to create genuine confidence in your character and in your care. You also need reciprocity. Establish a two-way relationship. You need value that flows in both directions, and both parties know that value is supposed to flow. You also need recognition. You need to acknowledge your customers as individuals. Unique needs, they've got unique preferences, and they have unique stories. And you can be a part of that if you will pay attention. The 4th one is community. You need to participate in and be contributing to the broader fabric of local life. Your community and being a part of it solidifies you in the mind of your customers. These pillars, they aren't abstract concepts, even though they seem to be. They're not corporate buzzwords, even so sometimes they become that. They're actually practical. They're practical foundations for businesses that want to thrive in this hidden economy. It's an economy of relationships. I think of David. He transformed his struggling HVAC company by rebuilding it around these 4 pillars. He established trust by implementing a transparent pricing system and a satisfaction guarantee. It's right up front. He created reciprocity through a customer education program that empowered homeowners to maintain their systems themselves between the service visits, what they needed to do and what they shouldn't do. He built recognition by training his team to document and remember customer preferences, names, family, pets, and he fostered community by dedicating a percentage of his profits to local schools, which also led to him getting better employees and employee referrals. This transformation was remarkable. Within a year and a half, David's referral rate had increased by 37%. His customer retention, people that were coming back to him over and over again for regular maintenance, for other services, reached nearly 90%. And his team was once very frustrated because there were constant customer complaints. But they developed this renewed sense of purpose. Things got better. The strange thing, David told me, none of this feels like marketing. Feels like the right way to do business. That's the way we should all feel. Just doing the right thing. The 5th pillar is keep growing to maintain momentum and scale. Everything is built. It's running without you, like a well-oiled machine. You may even wonder, hey, what's next? You may have been used to the chaos, and now you feel like nothing's happening. Or maybe you still feel like you can't keep your head above water. Well, this is the time you begin your move from operator to orchestrator. To do this, I want you to use the high leverage filter. Before you spend time, money, or energy on anything, ask 3 questions. Will this create more time for me in the future? Will this grow my revenue or reduce my cost? Will this improve my team's ability to execute? Those are 3 powerful questions for someone looking to scale and grow themselves, grow their business, grow their team. Through years of working with home service businesses that have successfully navigated this final stage of development, there's 4 critical evolutions that seem to come about that enable sustainable growth. We see people that kind of push into this area and then they fail, and those that move in and it becomes sustainable. First is there's an evolution of leadership. There's this transforming from a hands-on technician to a strategic visionary who guides rather than executes. That's hard to do for a lot of us. There's also an evolution of team. We build not just employees, but leaders who can operate with an ownership mentality, and they're able to make those independent decisions from you. Some of those will be right, some of those will be wrong, but in the end, they help the business grow overall and the individual grow. We also see an evolution of operations. They create systems that are so robust, they maintain quality and consistency, regardless of who implements them. Now, I'm not saying you don't need A players. I've heard people say that before. They are wrong. You need leaders and people to create these systems and help manage the systems that are A players. But what it does, it allows you to quickly grow, quickly insert those great players so that they do the consistent things that protect your brand and grow your business. And the last, the evolution of purpose. Clarifying the deeper why that sustains motivation when your initial goals have been achieved. Now, these evolutions, they don't happen automatically. I've never seen it happen automatically. They require intention. They require strategic thinking. And often there's a fundamental reassessment of what your business exists to do and to be, and in turn, what you exist to do and to be. I think of Carlos, landscaping company, had plateaued at around 40 people. Despite his strong market demand for further growth, he was needing to grow. His community wanted him to grow. And our work together revealed that Carlos had evolved his operational systems and built a capable team, but he is the one that remained locked in this technician mindset, involving himself in decisions that others could have made. And because of that, he was the lid to his business. He said, I thought I was being thorough, but what he discovered is that he was actually being a bottleneck. Carlos's breakthrough came when he realized leadership in this final stage of his business was not about having all the answers. It was more about asking the right questions and creating space for others to develop those solutions. So instead of providing detailed instructions for each project, he began asking his team, what approach would best serve this client? What would excellence look like here? And I'll tell you, at first, this was very uncomfortable for everyone. It was uncomfortable for him. It was uncomfortable for his team. They weren't sure what to say. They had become accustomed to this very detailed direction. And initially, some people felt like they were unsupported. They weren't getting what they needed because they had learned how to operate with Carlos providing all the answers. Carlos kind of felt anxious. He was anxious about potential mistakes, and sometimes he gravitated back to control. But gradually, this approach unleashed creativity and ownership amongst his team, and it ended up freeing Carlos to focus on strategic visions. So when he made this change, within a year, his company had grown to 65 employees, while actually requiring less of Carlos's direct involvement. And I think it's noted here, and much more important, his employee satisfaction increased dramatically. His turnover dropped. Team members experienced this fulfillment of genuine autonomy and of growth in themselves. And that's how it happens. These 5 pillars work together to create a business that gives you freedom instead of stress. They build on each other. Each one makes others more effective. When you implement all 5, something amazing happens. Your business starts working better when you step back instead of worse, because your team grows into who they were meant to be. The real test of whether you built a business or just bought yourself a job comes down to one simple question. Can you walk away for a week and still have everything run smoothly? Most owners can't. But the ones who follow this method, they can. And what we end up seeing is not only can they step away a week, they could step away a month. They could step away 2 months. One owner that I worked with left on a trip into Europe for 2 months, while his business not only ran without him, it grew without him. Scaling without burnout isn't just possible. It's really the only way to build a business that's actually worth owning. Sarah, an electrician, increased her revenue to $1.2 million, her personal income to over $200,000, while reducing her work hours by 30%. David, who is a landscaper, he transformed his business from a source of stress to a source of pride. by establishing those systems and building a leadership team that he could be proud of. If you want a complete roadmap, I want you to join the 5 Mistakes Masterclass to uncover what's really holding your growth back and get a step-by-step plan to break free. It's at 5mistakesmasterclass.com. You don't have a business until you can walk away for at least a week and still have everything run smoothly. And if you're already at that week, can you step away for a month? Look, start building that business today. I'll see you next time.